And I think that kind of lack of educational content can lead a lot of people to potentially fall victim to workouts like this and expect to see results that they actually probably won't achieve. Here we are, once again, on a day of the week, which is probably going to be a Thursday. I know it is because this is the next video. And we'll talk about a few bits and bobs today. Something slightly different, actually. And this wasn't initially planned. This kind of was due to a few things that I had seen recently, unfortunately. I recently did a video covering Emi Wong. I think it kind of highlighted a few problematic approaches to kind of health and fitness, which I did notice. I was kind of going to leave it there because I didn't really know what else to say. But then obviously I looked through the comments, and unfortunately quite a lot of them were actually quite sad to read. A lot of them were people sharing their experiences, and the big thing I actually noticed, which I really didn't expect, was how many younger individuals have had negative experiences with body image, self-esteem, things along those lines, maybe even eating disorders, potentially due to content like Emi's. And then a few people did actually message me and comment on top of that saying, have you ever had a look at April Han? Another content creator who resides out of the USA. She produces content that's quite similar to Emi's, which is kind of what I want to talk about today. Probably going to be a bit of a deeper video, probably going to be more of a serious video today, but I think it's necessary, especially after the comments in the Emi Wong video. We're going to have a gander and talk about some things and why I deem this behaviour to be potentially problematic. Before we do, obviously you know what must be done. 1100 likes in the first 24 hours is the goal, so if we could hit that, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and subscribing to the channel, and the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. If you have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below for comment question of the week, and I shall do so at the end of the next video. I actually bought this hat because I thought it was really cool, and I actually kind of like it, I'm going to be honest with you. Because obviously at the end of the year, I'm giving all of my hats away to a children's hospital. Probably not going to give this one away because I don't think they'd probably enjoy it that much. My head's a bit big, we already know that. I just kind of like the hat. I think it's really cool. I like this. Makes you pretty edgy, you know, pretty cool, pretty hardcore at times. You know, I'm pretty scary guy. I'm not. So April is actually certified. She's a NASM certified weight loss specialist and nutrition coach. I'm gonna throw out there now, I have not seen all of April's content. I have seen a fair bit of it, but I've not seen all of it. The singular video I'm gonna place my attention on today is going to be one that kind of aligns with the video I did on Emi, because I felt like it was kind of appropriate doing so like that. And that's going to be lift breasts and reduce armpit fat in 20 days, lowercase s, 12 min standing chest workout, no equipment. The title's a bit suspect, the thumbnail's a bit suspect. This kind of does suggest the spot reduction of fat. I know I say this a lot, but you may not know. So spot reduction of fat is essentially choosing where you lose fat. So in this case, choosing to lose fat in this region here. You can't choose where you lose fat. That's very much determined by your body, and it will gain fat, it will lose fat where it wants to gain fat, where it wants to lose fat. But what you can do is you can choose essentially where you gain muscle by targeting those areas, likely with something like resistance training. So we're going to crack on with the video and we're going to discuss what's going to pop up. I have noticed a few problematic things, and first of all actually being the title and thumbnail, but also the contents, which I do want to talk about.
姑娘想让胸部更丰满一些，也有的姑娘想让胸部小一些、瘦一些，那这些真的能通过运动改善吗？要回答这个问题，我们得先来看一下乳房的解剖结构。乳房最主要的组成成分是乳。
Initially, I was almost kind of surprised when I first watched this video. I was like, we have an anatomy photo, which is cool. I like that because it does imply some potentially educational content. It's kind of showing people what's involved and what's going on beneath the surface of the area they're kind of placing emphasis on. So I like that. Anatomy is good. The main part of this video is going to be the workout, because obviously that's probably what you're here for. You want me to talk about the workout, the exercise selection, and kind of give my opinion on it. Initially, when I see standing chest workout without the kind of inclusion of something like a cable machine or something along those lines, if it's a standing chest workout, it's going to be quite limited. If you're limited to body weight, gravity is ultimately going to be your resistance. When you're doing anything standing, gravity is obviously going to pull you down. So if my arms are out here, gravity is going to pull me down. That's going to place more emphasis on the shoulders, which is the elevation. For it to be chest dominant, the gravity would need to pull me back like a press, like a fly sort of thing. So resistance needs to go that way for the chest, so you're pushing against it or flying against it. Obviously, if you've got the arm pulses, this is just a warm-up. Is it an effective warm-up? I mean, what do you deem to be an effective warm-up? A single arm chest fly. Very similar to what Emi was doing in her videos. So we're going to cross like so. Tickle me this with quiz time with TFNL. If I'm here, where is the resistance going? So which way is gravity pulling me? So gravity wants me to go down. So there. So the primary muscles that are going to be keeping me up here are likely going to be the shoulders. So you've got the shoulder elevation occurring. The actual flight itself, which is going to be the chest dominant or the pec dominant movement, because obviously one of the functions of the chest is to bring the humerus, which is this upper arm bone, across the body. So you either do that with a press or a fly. Something like this where gravity is pulling me down but I'm trying to get resistance going across is not really going to do what you think it's going to do. The emphasis on the pecs, so the chest muscle, is going to be very limited. The resistance will have to be pushing me this way for it to do much going this way. So again, immediately that's a very disappointing movement to choose. This one actually does include more resistance because she's putting her fist into her elbow and pushing across it to then essentially provide resistance when she's trying to bring the humerus across the body. So this is actually involving the chest to some degree. Again, does that mean it's effective? I'm probably going to say no, because obviously I know we speak about this a lot, but obviously you want to try and progressively overload. Do more each week if you can. Do the same thing over and over again. The results aren't really going to show much else than what you already experienced. How are you going to progressively overload this? This kind of comes into like mechanical application, which is a very fundamental aspect of building muscle. Are you taking the body part you wish to train, so in here the pecs, through its correct range of motion with adequate resistance? No, you're not actually taking it through any range of motion here. You're actually kind of just contracting. You're pressing against it in the shortened position, which is obviously here. You're not getting an eccentric, you're not actually in the concentric, which is obviously the way down, the way up. So you're kind of limiting your ability to lengthen the muscle and then shorten it, thus actually take it through an active range of motion, essentially. So this is an interesting one because she's doing a chest fly. Because she's tilted forward, so if I have my arms back here, where she is, similar position to April, and I let go, no resistance, just let go, they went down. I did nothing there. Considering there's no actual resistance preventing the humerus from going across the body, gravity is actually taking it across the body, it's not going to do anything. The sad reality is a lot of these exercises are very much like this, and nothing really changes. And I don't want to bore you by going through the same sort of exercises, which we're kind of deeming to be quite disappointing at this stage. She does include a standard kind of press-up variation, which I do appreciate. Would I do the walk back? No, I'd probably just do a normal press-up, but it's nice to see that April is including a press-up because this movement will actually do something for you. And it will do something because gravity is pulling you down. You're trying to force yourself away, so a horizontal push away from the floor, which means the humerus is going to have to travel across the body to some extent against resistance. So again, it's a pushing movement, which means the pecs, the anterior delt, and the triceps are going to be very much involved. That's good. Out of all the movements we've seen, this is the only real one I deem to be an actually pretty solid movement to do, and one I would place greater emphasis on, which is also funny considering this is a standing chest workout and this is one of the only movements in which she is not standing. Interesting. So I said earlier about the gravity, standing kind of being limiting with the chest, etc, etc. That's essentially the workout, but what we're going to talk about is a bit deeper than that. I didn't want to bring this up in the last video with Emi because I didn't want to sound like I was being inappropriate and I didn't want to offend anybody because that's never my goal, but then a few people actually really did comment it and it solidified my potential opinions. And it also kind of goes on to some of the messages I have received. The kind of approach to working out and the approach to exercise selection and whatnot is potentially largely due to a cultural difference. As a lot of the comments I did see in the last video, and again, quite a few of the messages I received, were speaking about how in Asian cultures, it's almost looked down upon to gain muscle and to develop your physique in that sense. People will often leave you quite negative comments and can be quite hurtful about that, which can ultimately lead to some pretty nasty body image issues, unfortunately. And I actually spoke to a few people on the Instagram, and they actually messaged me saying they're in a bit of a pickle because they want to get bigger, they want to gain more muscle mass, and they want to kind of feel better. Because of their culture, it's looked down upon for them to do that, and they kind of feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they want to do what's best for them, but they feel like they're going to be negatively judged by their friends and family and society for doing what's best for them, which is gain a bit of muscle, which is obviously what they want. And ultimately it comes down to this. Again, I'm never trying to offend anyone, I'm not trying to upset anyone, I'm merely just expressing my opinion. Just because your culture deems one thing to be desired, healthy, attractive, whatever it may be, doesn't mean it's right for you. This is less about trying to fit your cultural norms, trying to fit societal norms, and trying to align with societal pressures, which we all face to different degrees, but more about trying to prioritize what's best for you. If you kind of limit your progression, you limit your changes and your development of your body however you want to do so, because you want to please other people, by doing so, not only will you never please everybody, you also neglect to please yourself, which is really important. Being unhappy in yourself, being unhappy in your body, not liking how you look, not liking how you feel, not liking who you are far in many cases. That alone is a problem, but it can go far beyond that. I'm not saying April is promoting eating disorders or anything along those lines. By no means am I saying that. I'm merely stating how this kind of approach to society, where we almost feel like we're within our rights and our powers to determine how somebody else should look, can actually be really damaging. And again, that can promote things like eating disorders. As we did notice in the Emi Wong video, a lot of people were bravely sharing their experiences. It can promote other mental health hindrances, depression, anxiety, body confidence issues, things along those lines. All of these things that in the world of health and fitness we want to address and we want to avoid, because health and fitness goes far beyond just physical aesthetic. Just because you look good, you look how your society or culture wants you to look, doesn't mean you're healthy on the inside. And by inside, I don't just mean internal health, like your cholesterol, whatever it may be. I also mean your psychological and emotional health. If you look a certain way, which may be the way that your friends and family want you to look, but you aren't happy with yourself, and you may be struggling with other issues on top of that, does that mean you're healthy? Is happiness not part of health as well? And obviously, I don't know about you, but when you kind of get into the realm of health and fitness, you want to focus on all facets of health, not just external appearance. Like I said, a lot of this channel is very much kind of bridging the gap between psychological, i.e. mental, and physical health. Unfortunately, the world we live in, where every culture and every gender has mass societal pressures to look a certain way or be a certain way or do a certain thing, can actually be really damaging. And I think that's what I really noticed following on from Emi's video. It's just a shame, especially considering, I think the thing that really upset me, it's a shame to hear about anyone's struggles, because obviously no one wants to hear about people not in a great place. But what really got to me is how young a lot of the individuals were. You were having 13, 14, 15-year-olds sharing their experiences, talking about their mental health complications that were largely either triggered by the culture they live in or triggered by some of the content they were consuming. And some of that content was Emi's content, which again, April's content is very similar to Emi's in some regards, not in all regards, just in the kind of few videos I've seen. I mean, let's say we try to remove the consideration of cultural differences and we look at just the bog standard title and the kind of goal of the workout. So the goal of the workout was to develop some muscle in that area. The exercises selected aren't really doing a lot for that area. They're not very pec dominant, and they aren't taking the pecs through their necessary range of motion with adequate resistance, which is a big thing here. If you want to kind of develop this pec region, look at your upper arm. One of the primary functions of the pec is to bring the humerus across the body. So you can do that through a pressing motion, so you've got a push up, you've got a converging chest press, or a flying motion, so like a pec fly, like so. So now we've nailed like the movements you can do, but how do you do them? So a press up works because resistance is trying to pull you to the floor, and you're using your pecs to try and push away from the floor. So resistance is going against you. You're fighting resistance. Same with the fly. Resistance is trying to pull you back. You're trying to fly against it. And I think that kind of lack of educational content can lead a lot of people to potentially fall victim to workouts like this and expect to see results that they actually probably won't achieve, which again, can also have quite a knock-on effect on your mental health. If you go into this workout thinking, you know what, April looks fantastic, I'm going to do these workouts because clearly she's done these workouts and that's how she looks the way she does, and then you don't achieve the results, who do you immediately blame? You'll probably blame yourself. When in actual fact, no, you're not the problem whatsoever. The problem here is the exercise selection. The exercise you're doing are merely suboptimal and just aren't very good movements. Have a look what else is out there. Don't buy into the workouts that aren't really going to do what you want them to do. I know it's easier said than done, but really try and place the focus and prioritize doing what's best for you rather than doing what's best for those around you. Please don't neglect your mental health and how you feel, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, you're struggling with your body image, you're anxious, whatever it may be, we need to try and address something, because you don't want to live like that forever, and I don't want you to live like that forever. If you need somebody to talk to, you want some advice, whatever it may be, please don't hesitate to drop me a message on Instagram and reach out, because I will always reply. But now we shall do comment question of the week. I'm going home from university for Christmas and won't have access to a gym to train and don't have any weights at home. How would you suggest I try to keep my progress using body weight or just general exercise? It's far easier to maintain muscle than a lot of people realise, and it's also far easier to maintain muscle than it is to gain muscle. Body weight exercises will likely be fine to help you maintain muscle mass, so I wouldn't stress too much about that. You can always look at like the workouts of Caroline, see what she's doing and adapt them to remove any resistance she may be adding. Get a good amount of volume, get some good frequency in so you're training quite often, and just do the best you can do. Because, like I said, it's much easier to maintain muscle mass than a lot of people realise. As I said at the start of the video, if you like the video, 1100 likes on the video is the goal in the first 24 hours, so if we could reach that, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and subscribing to the channel, and the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. And if you too have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, please drop it down in the comment section for comment question of the week, and I shall do so. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my potential waffle, and hopefully tolerable opinion, and thank you for tolerating the video.